Welcome to the Pushing Buttons Podcast, the weekly video game podcast where we talk about ideas, concepts, opinions, and experiences in video games, brought to you each and every week on Tuesday free of charge. If you want to support us, however, please do so by following us on Twitter, on YouTube, however you're listening to this podcast. Just give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscribe, tell us what you think. My name's Kevin.
I'm Robert.
And this is Kyle.
And Spider-Man just came out last week.
Yeah,
Robert's been talking about it for
Yes.
quite a while. Came out on Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And jumping off of that, we're going to talk about our other favorite superhero-esque games that we've played. Nothing negative on this one. We're not going to talk about our most hated ones. There's no Superman 64 here. We're going to talk about some good ones. But before we start all that, how were your guys' weeks? I don't think Robert has much to talk about. Did you do anything besides Spider-Man? Well, I mean, last we talked was quite a while ago on the podcast.
Yeah.
It was quite a while ago, so you might have had some other things go on.
No, not really. Before I picked up Spider-Man the other day, I was still plugging away at The Witcher. I don't think I mentioned it. I think the last time we recorded, I hadn't finished the base game yet. But I did finish the main game for The Witcher.
I think last time you were...
Yeah.
I
was close, but I wasn't there yet.
There you go.
But so I finished that, and then I started the first DLC. Just trying to get as much of it done before Spider-Man came out, and I didn't quite make it, but I feel like I'm going to get through Spider-Man pretty quick, and then I'm going to go back to that. But
there you go.
Yeah, other than that, didn't do much. Work took up a lot of time last week, so...
As it does.
Mm-hmm.
As it always will.
So say we all.
My weekend was not too spectacular. Work and family stuff aside, didn't really have too much to do gaming-wise. Pretty much just have been spending a lot of my free time watching Ozarks.
It's a great show.
Yes, it is fantastic. I love Season 1, and Season 2 is in a really good direction. I'm only on Episode 8. Only on Episode 8.
Out of 10.
You know, since it released at the end of August. And I'm really excited to watch the finale.
Is it Ozark or Ozarks?
Singular. It's Ozark.
Okay. Ozark.
Yeah.
I said Ozarks by mistake.
That's okay.
I was just curious.
It's not CG Project Red.
Nope, not at all.
Nice. I watched the first episode of the first season, I think last year, and it was different than I think any show I've seen before that.
It's
seeing
not really...
Jason Bateman in that kind of role took a little bit getting used to.
It does take.
There's too much other stuff going on right around that time for me to continue watching it, but I do want to jump back in.
It's not like most other shows of that genre, like the organized crime TV shows. It's not like Narcos. It's not like Sons of Anarchy. It's not like any of that. It's its own thing altogether, and it's different. I like it a lot. I'm almost halfway through Season 2. Season 1 was really good. Season 2, like Kyle said, I'm liking the direction.
Very binge-worthy, yeah.
There's too many Netflix shows to keep up with.
See, I can't binge it. I have to watch one episode at a time and then take a break. I can't binge watch that show.
Interesting.
Yeah. Most other shows I can. It's usually comedies that I can binge watch.
Wow, that's like the opposite for me.
Really?
I can't binge comedies.
Really?
That's interesting.
I used to back in the Office days, but...
See, that's what I think of, because those are the comedies. I go back and rewatch Parks and Rec and The Office and Community and all the good ones. I just... Arrested Development, just kind of cycle through them all.
It must be like a mindset.
Seinfeld.
Like, if you're more comedically oriented, like, you'll be drawn to that stuff more.
I'm just entertained by it more. It's a different level of entertainment.
Because you're a very comedic person, I would say, in everyday life.
I try to be more eccentric, I suppose.
Well, eccentric's not quite the right word.
Describe me. Don't define me.
You're very witty, and you come up with snappy remarks, like at a,
I'm feeling forced to come up with something to say right now. I can't think of it.
Well, because you're on the spot.
Exactly.
But in your natural behavior,
gotcha.
You just are coming.
I'm
out with
somewhat impulsive.
All sorts of quips.
Might you say I'm impulsive?
That's more accurate. Yes.
Gotcha. Anything besides Ozark?
Nope. Just WoW as usual, but
gotcha.
I've talked enough about that.
Wow.
I, in the last week, played a bit more of The Messenger. I'm going to hit on that next week. I'm going to talk quite a bit about it next week. It's a good game. Played a bit more of that. Haven't been playing Stardew like I thought I would have after couple of weeks ago when I said that I got heavily into it again.
Mhm.
Messenger just took up a lot of my time, and then Ozark coming out. Yeah. I bought my first Funko Pop.
Oh, which one?
Yeah.
Current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega from the Bullet Club.
Not what I was expecting, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
They have a set of New Japan Pro Wrestling Funko Pops, and first one I ever bought was one of theirs. Not a WWE one, not like a Power Rangers one. Yeah. Not a Star
you gotta
Wars
start
one.
somewhere.
Yeah, I think I like the Bullet Club one because there's only 4 or 3 because one of them's a twofer. But I don't know if I'm going to collect them. I saw that one sitting there on the counter, and I was like,
They're good impulse
want it.
boys.
Yeah.
Impulse buys.
I'm an impulse boy.
Impulse boys. But yeah,
Nice.
that's how I was when I first started collecting them. Just started seeing them like when they're on sale and stuff, like a Hot Topic or like Target or whatever. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, I had like 30 of them, mostly Star Wars, and now it's like I have nowhere to put them, so they're in a box in my closet now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was bad at just buying stuff like hardcover Star Wars novels and a bunch of comics from like Mass Effect and Star Wars and stuff, and I have bookshelves, but once those are full, like DVDs and now Blu-rays, and if I would have kept all of my Xbox 360 games before trading them all in, and I only kept a handful, but I think I've traded in over like 60 Xbox 360 games.
Wow.
Damn.
That was when I used to trade in games, when I used to go to GameStop, I guess. We haven't recorded a podcast episode since before Labor Day, have we?
Yeah, it was August 31st.
Yep.
That was the last one.
So the barbecue that we went to, I want to talk about me mastering 3 grills at once. That was a lot of fun.
That was a fun weekend.
I knew I had some beef patties, some turkey burger patties, and some hot dogs that I had to grill, and I didn't want to watch people eat while I was standing there grilling other food. So I did 3 grills, one guy.
You did a damn good job.
I only burnt a couple of the turkey burger patties, but I hit it with the Gouda. So they turned out really good.
They
can
were
vouch for that.
delicious. Yeah.
Yes.
That was an experience that I want to relive at some point. It was a little stressful at first, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. But let's talk a little bit about Spider-Man, shall we?
I guess. If
You've
you
been
want.
looking forward to it for a while.
I have.
What were your first impressions when you, outside of having to wait for the game to install and update because PlayStation?
Right.
But more importantly, how does that new PS4 Pro look in your bedroom?
Sexy.
Yeah.
I really like. I know a lot of the comments online were people saying like, "Oh, it's so ugly. Like all their exclusive like consoles are always ugly and stuff." Yeah,
The Call of Duty Black Ops 3 one that I have is hideous.
that's,
But
a
that
lot of
Spider-Man
people
one
like
looked pretty good.
it was the first. It's the first like special edition console I've ever gotten. Like I never got a 360 or PS3 or anything themed or anything. So it looks really good. I was kind of hoping it'd be more like the kind of like a matte color instead of gloss. That's like a glossy
I
red.
figured it was going to be matte.
Yeah, I was hoping for that.
Okay.
But you know, with my daughter, lots of fingerprints and stuff.
Yeah.
Fingerprints don't bug me as much, but it looks really nice. And I know Kevin, you weren't digging the controller that much, but
Yeah,
I really like it.
I typically don't like red, like solid red things. It looked good on the console, I thought, but yeah, I didn't dig the controller.
It looks nice. But yeah, the game
all
itself
together.
is fantastic. Like it takes a few minutes, you know, I'd say like a half hour to an hour to get kind of a handle on everything because they throw a lot at you in terms of combat and buttons and stuff really fast. So
Gotcha.
once you figure out, you know, how to use your web powers, punches, and all that stuff, and make it all meld together, it's awesome. But I'm still finding myself playing it where I forget about powers, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I can do that.
I've
And
got
then-
such and such web attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's just so much variety in it that it's.
Does it feel like playing an Arkham game but faster?
I can't.
Oh,
really,
you didn't play the Arkham games.
Yeah,
That's right.
Since I've only played the first hour or two of the first one.
Okay.
I know that's what a lot of other people were saying, but I would say it was probably faster from what I played years ago in the first hour because, you know, Batman's clunkier, he's got the armor and stuff. Spider-Man's supposed to be more agile.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the combat's really fun once you get into it. It's really addictive, and I like collecting the suits
Nice.
There's like 28 suits you can find.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, they like unlock through like playing through the story and
Side
all that.
missions,
But,
whatnot.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Achievements.
Yeah, the graphics are awesome. The facial animation is really good in that game too.
Probably looks even better now that you have a PS4 Pro
Yeah,
and playing it on your...
65-inch TV.
Yeah.
That must look really good.
It does.
My TV's 65-inch, but it's not 4K.
I really like HDR.
Yeah, I
It
don't have that.
it makes games beautiful.
When you play God of War, you're going to be
I'm so excited for
astounded.
that, yeah.
It's a gorgeous game.
Should be.
I'm excited.
So,
I did make sure it's already downloaded on the console now, so
Oh,
when I
okay.
do get
Good.
to it, I can just play
Just get it and go.
Good.
Yep.
Um,
So, the Puddles? I have to
Puddles?
ask.
I don't know.
it. You never heard about the puddle controversy?
Enlighten
From
me.
the E3 demo they...
Oh, the water reflects the
the puddles are smaller in the final game.
Oh my god!
Because it
I'm
was
hoping
like a
that was mostly a
whole,
joke. I'm
like,
hoping that
building
was
floor was like soaked in water.
a joke. Okay.
And apparently there was like a gameplay trailer showing off later, right before launch. And people were noticing
goodness.
like, the puddles! What'd you do with the puddles?
Oh good.
They're not big enough!
It's a downgrade!
Downgrade!
No. And
I've been
what-
seeing the memes on the downgrade
yeah.
thing lately.
And Digital
Yeah.
Foundry actually did a video, and they walked through all of that and totally debunked it.
Yeah, as a
So it was
Digital
an
Foundry?
artistic choice.
Digital Foundry and Ars Technica do a lot of stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I mean, if it was to the extent of Watch Dogs or Aliens, Colonial Marines, those are bad examples
Mhm.
or good examples of it done poorly. But
But
Puddles,
the puddles have not bothered me at all.
That's
Everything looks fantastic. It's a really good looking game. It's just like playing like a movie of Spider-Man.
so I have to interrupt.
Yes.
I didn't go to Target to buy a Funko Pop. I did buy a Funko Pop. I played Spider-Man all weekend.
What?
I've been keeping it a secret.
You?
So before work on Friday, I was like, I'm going to buy Spider-Man. I'm like, I'm not going to tell the guys because we're
I'm
going to
super
record the
shocked.
podcast. And I had to wait until...
I feel bamboozled.
Guys, I have a secret.
You didn't buy Spider-Man, though.
I had no idea you were going to buy a game like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I bought it and I played the ever-loving crap out of it.
Do you love it?
It's really good.
Right?
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's the first game that I've been able to take minimal breaks during
Mhm.
because the gameplay is all so varied.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Did it take you a little while to get into the hang of all the combat?
The combat not as much
Mm-hmm.
because it's essentially two buttons. I guess I
Right.
guess you use all four of the buttons, but
And then you got the gadgets and
yeah,
Yeah.
like with you, switching between all the different gadgets, like using
Mhm.
the web, the electric web, and the web bomb, and the drones and stuff like that. It took me a long time to get used to all that.
Mhm.
I'm having the problem right now where I'm using the same suit ability the entire time. I'm using the one
Yeah.
with he jumps up, spins in a circle, and webs everything and everybody. Because I can just jump into a bunch of thugs and just hit the button,
Yeah.
and they're all gone.
See, the one I've been using is the very first one you get, which just makes you gain. Was it
What did they call that?
Yeah, what did they call it?
Focus.
Focus.
Yeah.
You gain focus faster because I seem to lose health a lot, so I've been using that one so I can health. But
Does the game start you
You
off
blew
with
my
all the
mind,
powers?
man. No.
So you earn them gradually?
You can web sling from the very beginning. There's a skill tree, and it's three different skill
Yeah.
trees, and then you unlock other combat moves and web abilities.
it reminded me a lot of Spider-Man 2.
I don't know if
Back
I
in the
actually
day.
played it.
A lot of the stuffs are giving me flashbacks of
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure that served as like the base for
Mhm.
their inspiration to take that into the
Which
next
is a good
level.
thing because that game is awesome. But one thing I really like that they're doing is they don't throw all of the side missions and collectibles at you at the beginning.
I'm laughing now because how I'm playing the game.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if you did this. So I did the first story mission,
hmm
and then I did all the landmarks and all of the
You played it basically how I would play a game.
and
I
throughout
heard-
the entire world.
Oh.
You could do the landmark
Mhm.
photos, and then there's one more thing. The
There's 50
backpacks.
secret landmark photos too that they don't tell you about.
Oh, I did
It
not
unlocks
know that.
a secret costume.
I did not know that. Gotcha. But yeah, I've been doing. I did all the backpacks and all the landmark photos before going further in the story. So I'm like nowhere in the story, and I've done all the Black Cat stakeouts, all the environment research facility things. I've done all those, and all the crime thug things, the thugs and the demons, and all. I'm doing all that before even continuing the story. I do everything throughout the entire world. No, I'm just playing through it because I have to complete. In an open world game, I'm having that feeling that I have to complete things.
Well, what's compelling you to do that? Because I thought you didn't do that before.
I mostly do it. I stopped doing that so much with God of War and then Breath of the Wild because they're just too massive. The world in Spider-Man's not big. Oh, it's big. It's large, but it's not massive, and it's very fun to traverse.
I can see why you would enjoy doing that then.
I don't fast travel in that game.
No, I think I've done it once. Like the first time they tell you to do it. But what I was going to say about those is throughout the game, they keep adding more things. Like if you notice on the map, for like the different areas, it'll have like the list of like the legend, you know, for the different things. You notice there's ones that are still locked. Yeah. And that's what I don't think I've ever played a game that did that before, where it's not just here's everything at once, go and do it. It's you have to reach certain parts in the story, and then it naturally, now you got this set of things to go find and do that. I really like that.
That was the other one.
Yeah.
After I unlocked all those, I did those too.
And I thought that was really cool how they did that, and it makes it more natural, especially from it coming from a story mission, and now you got to branch off and do all these side things. I thought that was awesome.
So being a fan of Spider-Man and like comic books and Marvel in general, or specifically, I guess, I get the feeling that I'm playing a very long Spider-Man movie. The way that it's written, the characters and stuff. Do you feel that way, or does it feel more like the old '90s cartoon, or does it feel like the comic books themselves?
I never played a lot of the cartoons, honestly, or watched a lot of the cartoons.
That's the only Spider-Man that I actually have any reference to.
The '90s cartoon for me is all I really have to.
Right.
Aside from the, Sam Raimi movies.
I don't know the actors' names.
Tobey Maguire.
Oh,
the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, I watched. Yeah. I think I've seen those. I think I saw each of them once. I did like the Amazing Spider-Man movie. Was there only one or were there two?
Oh, that was
there's two.
Andrew
Garfield.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I have not seen Spider-Man Homecoming.
I have not seen the Garfield ones.
Really?
Nope.
They're different. Like, I enjoyed the first one a lot. It's definitely a different take. And I like Andrew Garfield a lot as Spider-Man. Second one kind of went off the rails a little bit. They tried to put too much into it. They were trying to make a universe, like Marvel was doing, and they tried too hard, and that's what made it fail. But Homecoming's really good.
It is, yeah.
I think you would really enjoy that one.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
This reminds me a lot of that, even though it's Peter Parker in two different times of his life. It gives me a lot of that vibe where it's more kind of like joyful.
Okay.
I guess. It does remind me a lot of like playing a long Spider-Man movie, though.
Okay, that's
I really like.
Yeah.
And I like that you have a lot of Peter Parker in it. It's not just Spider-Man the whole time.
Right.
Like, I like that there's parts where you have to control him, and
because
because that's what makes Spider-Man unique among superheroes. It's the duality of his, himself and then Spider-Man. Whereas like Bruce Wayne, no one cares about Bruce Wayne. It's all Batman.
They can't relate to him because he's filthy rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do with him. But Peter Parker and Spider-Man, he really does have to have that balance. And I thought they captured that really well.
I really enjoyed the backpack collectibles.
Yeah.
Because every time I picked one up, I pressed triangle to listen to what he had to say about it. And I
Those
really
are really cool.
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. There's even some like references to it being a video game. Like it kind of sounds like it's almost not quite Deadpool styles of breaking the fourth wall, but it's like a couple of times walking that line between breaking the fourth.
There's a lot of Easter eggs and winks and all that stuff.
The part where he said like he won a competition, like an Oscorp competition or something. He didn't want to take the money, but he did take the lifetime supply of backpacks.
Yeah.
I thought that was really clever.
Yeah. I love that. But I'm having so much fun with it. And I like that it's the story is set after he's been doing it for years, and all his main villains are already in prison and stuff. And
I was going to ask you about that. That's why I was really excited to talk to you about it, because I don't know anything about the Spider-Man mythos. I don't know any of the characters or the timeline or any of this. Has there ever been a story told as far in his Spider-Man career as this game?
Like, is it based off anything specific? Or
not well, okay, you can answer that as well, but
that I wouldn't be sure.
Is there anything that you've read or seen or played that takes place during this same time frame of his life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, it's
everything that I've seen, he's either in high school or like in college.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything post-college Spider-Man.
Oh. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of, like, when I was younger, I would read the classic Spider-Man stories a lot, like the original, like, 60s, 70s one.
Cool, yeah.
When he's in high school. And there's just, the thing about comic books is there's so many titles, and there's so many issues, it's hard to know where to start anywhere, and there's millions of stories, thousands of stories. And I do know there are, like, there's stories where he's married to MJ, and they're adult. I think currently in the comics, he's like a CEO, and he has his own, like, Parker Enterprises or something like that.
Gotcha.
And he's a big rich guy now. And so there's lots of different comics are like that. There's a bunch of different timelines and stuff like that. So I haven't read a lot of his recent stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that they created their own story, and they seem like they did a really good job.
Are you liking the story?
Mm-hmm.
And it is its own original story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the villain guy, the Mr. Negative or whatever.
I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah. Well, like in the trailers, there's this guy that's like, he looks like a negative.
I didn't watch.
Like a negative picture.
He looks like Two-Face, basically.
I've unlocked the negative the negative suit for Spider-Man, so I can
Somewhat.
assume what that.
Well, he's got like the black suit and the white hair, right? Or is it opposite?
Well, that's not Two-Face.
Well, I know, but he has the same color.
This is a different podcast.
Well, yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's right. You should play the game, man. You'd love it.
For as much as you like open world games, and I don't so much anymore, and I'm really loving this game, I think you would enjoy it a lot, Kyle. I really
Down
do.
the road, yeah. I don't think I want to play it right now. Not in the mood for that kind of game.
Save it for Red Dead Redemption 2, and then
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
maybe post Red Dead.
Biding my time.
Yeah,
I gotta play that day one.
I figured as much.
Yeah. I just don't want to get burnt out before then.
Smart.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
After buying Spider-Man, I'm thinking I'm going to get Red Dead 2. I won't keep that one a secret from you guys, though. I just wanted to keep this a secret just because I wanted to have questions to ask you, Robert, loaded in my back pocket, but I also had to experience the game. Because just the idea of traversing through the city, like...
that feels really good. The web slinging and zipping everywhere. I love... Same as like Spider-Man 2, just going to the top of the tallest building and just diving off, waiting until you're almost at the sidewalk, and then
yeah,
doesn't get old.
Yeah, there's a side mission that you have to do that off of a couple of different tall buildings. And
I mean, I imagine the Batman Arkham games are not as fast, but that was one thing I really enjoyed about Arkham City, because I haven't played Arkham Knight, so I have no idea what the Batmobile's like or anything.
Oh, gotcha.
But just using the Batclaw to traverse amongst all the rooftops, and then just gliding, and you just see his cloak just all
Just
spread
open.
out.
Yeah.
That traversal was really fun in the Arkham series. You would really enjoy it if you enjoyed Spider-Man.
Well, I own them all, so I know I'm going to enjoy them.
That backlog of games now that
Yeah,
you have
man.
with a brand new PlayStation, all your PS Plus games.
Yeah, the 10th anniversary is coming up soon for Arkham Asylum next year in August.
That's old.
Yeah. Time's flying by.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about with Spider-Man? Without getting into spoiler territory.
Right. I think that covers all of it. I do like the... I don't do photo modes, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But I have enjoyed playing around with it a little bit.
The photo mode in that game is really fun.
Just having like the different borders and stuff and make it look like a comic book cover and all that is...
Right, yeah.
It's pretty cool. It made me mess around with it a little bit.
I did one. I took a photo of me in the punk suit, And then it was when I was doing the suit power for it, so he's playing the guitar and it's all the sound waves. And I put that on the cover of the comic book, and there's a set of headphones sitting right next to it. So
I do kind of feel like the story's going, not the story itself is going too fast, but that
there's not as much there as you thought
not the pacing of it,
Right.
but the actual story of the game is, it's like, I know I'm almost towards the end, and I don't want it to be the end.
Are you doing all the side stuff as it opens?
I'm going back and forth.
Okay.
Like, because the time of day is tied to, like, the main missions, you know? It's not a day-night cycle.
Right, yeah.
So, if it's, like, night and I don't want to, be jumping around at night, I'll do a mission till it gets to, like, the time of day I want, and then I'll go off and do some side quests and stuff.
Gotcha.
I've been going back and forth, trying to keep it kind of even.
That seems more the way it's meant to be played, rather than how I play it.
Well, that's the thing about open world, is it's there for you to go do how you want. But I do, I can tell I'm getting towards the end, and it's like, I don't want it to be the end. I want it to be more story, and it's just getting to a part that was in the trailers that I thought was going to be earlier in the game.
Oh.
And now it's towards the end, I'm like, oh man, I wanted that to be kind of like more the central part of the game. And so I think it's definitely going to be setting up towards a sequel.
So you said you're about 75%.
Yeah, I think so.
Gotcha.
How many hours have you put into it? I imagine not very many.
Well,
like 20-ish?
let's see.
20?
That's a lot for a weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, it can't be that much.
I don't think it's that much. I mean, they said the story is only like 10 hours-ish, I think they said.
That's pretty short.
I figured it'd be shorter than that even.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and from what I hear, at the end, they definitely set up for a sequel.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've got 45% complete of the game right now. I don't know how much that story, how much that side stuff. But
well, what's the last story mission you played? We'll see how.
It was a boss fight in a bank. Without spoilers. It was a boss fight in a bank.
I don't care about spoilers.
There are other people. There's at least a couple other people listening to this.
That's a good point. It's not just me.
It's not just for us.
That's good that you view this as a conversation between the three of us. That's the point. I like
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, still the way to go. It's just some of the missions are so like short.
Yes, they are.
Some of them are just, okay, going to this place and talking to Aunt May. And that was the mission.
Right.
So that's why I think it's going so fast. There's like 42 mission chapters or whatever, but some of them, when they're that short, it's just like zip through them.
Go to a building and have a cutscene.
Yeah.
There are a few that are a little longer, though. Go to this place, defeat these people, go to the next place, take a picture, go to the next place. Yeah. I like the integration of not the photo mode for taking screenshots, but the in-game photo, his camera.
Yeah.
I like the integration with that. It's cool.
Another thing I liked, as an aside, is J. Jonah Jameson having a radio show instead of being at the newspaper.
Right.
I love his just random pop-ins and talking about something you just did or whatever.
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
And how Spider-Man actually makes comment about that. Like, I wonder how Jameson's going to talk about this or what he's going to say about this.
There's another kind of hidden collectible that you probably don't know about. It's down on the streets. Red newspaper stands. You can actually, you go up to them and it'll come up with the prompt for the triangle button.
Huh.
And there's, I think, 20 or something newspapers.
Huh.
You get?
I've done almost nothing street level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Didn't even go down and shoot some finger guns at people?
I've done that. Yeah, I did that. It's because I was like,
how figure it out.
Like, I had to. You told me about it, so I'm like, I have to do it.
Yeah.
I have to do
That's
this.
cool how it's the attack button. So, Kyle, when you jump down onto the ground and you're on the sidewalk with people, the attack button becomes like, you either do like a salute or finger guns or something
so
like
you're
that.
showing off for the crowd?
And then it's like saying, hey, what's up?
Yeah. Nice.
It's a
How's
nice
it going?
touch. It's a little thing, but I know you enjoyed the details, and
That's a good.
it's pretty cool.
It's very fitting of a Spider-Man story, too.
Yeah. And the voice actor does a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them do really good. Yeah. It's funny when you look at him like the actual actor, you would have no idea that comes up with Peter Parker's voice. Like he looks like his name's Yuri. He looks like a rugged Russian man or something. Yeah, he sounds like Peter Parker.
Isn't there a character in that game called Yuri?
Yeah.
It's like,
So
I can thank
it's
you for saying that.
The police lady.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good game. It's a
Really good game. Yeah. I'm enjoying it a lot.
I don't feel like I overpaid for me not looking forward to it that much and paying $60 on release day for it. I don't feel like I was gypped out of anything.
That's good.
I
I'm
feel
glad.
like I paid full price and it was worth it.
Really happy someone else got it.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be DLC for it?
Yeah, there is.
I would imagine so.
Oh,
yeah.
there is?
Mhm. Yeah, it's called...
Oh, it's already been announced.
Yeah. Well, it has like an overarching name. I can never say that word. Overarching name.
Okay.
It's like the city that never sleeps or something like that. And then there's going to be 3 packs that come out, I think, in October, November, and December.
Oh, okay.
And apparently with the special edition console, it comes with the code for those. So
Nice.
I'm getting those.
Nice.
Those come out.
No
I think the
extra
first one, they talked about the first one, and it's going to involve Black Cat and like doing some missions with her, something like that. But
I want a black hat.
a black hat. I have a few black hats. Yes.
So that's Spider-Man. You were bringing up earlier, Kyle, the comparison to the Arkham series. Would you consider that a good superhero franchise?
I would. It's an excellent game. It was made by a developer that didn't really have a big title prior to its release.
Yeah.
Because I think they did something on the original Xbox. I can't remember the name of it now. But it was like an urban first-person shooter. I never got to play it, but apparently it was kind of fun to play. And, yeah, when they first released Arkham Asylum, like, that game took off big time. Like,
Yeah,
it was, like, universally lauded as one of the best superhero games of all time. I mean, Arkham Asylum, it wasn't more so like Spider-Man where it was open world. It was a very much contained experience.
A lot more linear.
And I think that helped it a lot, like introducing Batman as a playable character. Because it focused more so on his detective work,
Yeah.
more so than anything else.
And so many other games since then have copied that.
Yes, it was so successful.
Yeah.
The combat system, the progression system.
I was talking specifically the detective mode.
And that too, yes, the detective vision.
Yeah.
Like that took
How it's
off.
been used in so many games.
Yeah,
since then.
it's like crazy how much is borrowed from Arkham Asylum.
Horizon Zero Dawn had a detective vision style
Yeah,
mode.
I can't remember the name of
The
it now.
earpiece thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's taken off so much, but and then Arkham City, like what that did, like transitioned Arkham Asylum to the open world style. I mean, granted, it was like hubs. It was still an open, interconnected world, but it was more so like a U-shaped, like a hub area.
Kind of like in shape, but kind of like God of War, how it had
Yeah.
the main central hub area, and then there were the other zones you could go to.
But what I love the most
Realms.
about it is it brings in the villains and it makes them into interesting boss fights based off of their characteristics as a villain.
Yeah.
Like you remember the Scarecrow sequence, like that was freaking awesome.
That was trippy.
because it was genre bending.
Uh-huh.
Like it was not what you would expect
Right.
from a superhero game. And I was like, oh man, this is so great. Like there's so much variety in the gameplay. It's just really fun to interact with that world, with those characters, the villains. And then the combat on top of that, like when you master it, God, you just feel like Batman. I mean, there's no way of putting it that's
Yeah.
better. Like, there was like combo multipliers, and based on how high of a combo multiplier you get, your abilities evolve. So instead of throwing one batarang, he throws 3.
Right.
Or, you know, if he uses his back claw to pull enemies to him, it's not just 1, it's 3. And it just made it so fun to play. I mean, I have yet to play Arkham Knight, and I'm really wanting to do that sometime. But, you know, the open world thing, I just got burnt out on it after a while.
Yeah.
But I do want to go back and try that. And the prequel game, Origins, I think it's called.
I forgot about
Arkham Origins, I
Yeah,
think.
I forgot about that.
That was okay, because it was pretty much like made by a B studio.
Yeah.
It wasn't made by Rocksteady, because they were focusing on Arkham Knight. But it was still pretty decent. Like, the main villain, I think, for that was Deathstroke. And it was okay. I mean, it wasn't the same level of polish, but it was still a good experience.
Nice.
But I would highly recommend it. It's fun. Like, everything you love about Spider-Man, you're going to love about Batman, the Arkham series. Because I assume Detective Vision's in Spider-Man, too. sort of.
Almost, not quite. Like you can hit a button to sense a couple of things, but it's not used anywhere near like it is in other games that have it.
You're not like looking around for like a trail of smells or something like that.
A couple of times you do. Kind of. Well, the pipe trails, I suppose. Like where pipes lead or...
Conduits, okay.
Yeah.
That's another thing I liked about the Arkham series was that it was kind of like a Metroidvania in a way. Because it was like an open world game, but you still had areas you couldn't access without tools you get later in the game.
Yeah.
So it was just all these different genres just blended together.
Like the best parts of a bunch of different genres.
It really made it a really memorable experience. Like I still remember playing that day one and being so excited to try that out. Like I just was blown away.
Were you a
by
fan of Batman before you played that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've watched the animated series, Batman Beyond animated series. I watched all the movies, even the bad ones. Like
there've been a lot of bad ones.
Yeah, I still remember when I was like, oh god, 10 years old or something, probably younger, and I went to go see the George Clooney one with my brother. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze was so bad, but so great at the same time. He just kept using these bad ice puns, and it was just terrible. But God, it was funny, though.
I haven't seen those ones since I was a kid.
Yeah.
The Batman Returns, and Penguin bites off the guy's nose. That
scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie as a kid because of that.
Oh,
same with like
Danny DeVito
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, like the guy ripping the guy's heart out. I couldn't watch those movies when I was a kid.
No.
Like, it scarred me. Now they're great, but
it's funny.
I mean, my favorite Batman movie, if I had to pick one, would be Dark Knight. I mean, bar none, that's like the best. I know a lot of people see that as like the easy choice, but what it does for the series, I just feel like it complements the dark tone of Batman as a character.
Yeah.
And it takes the Joker to a really crazy place. But at the same time, it's a good foil for Batman. Because he represents law and order, and Joker's like chaos. And it's like, which side will win? It's always up in the air. I guess that's the whole point. To keep people reading the comics. But I really enjoyed those games.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to pull a game out of my butt. It's from the...
Is it in the same way that Kyle pushed a button into mine?
Exactly like that.
I know, I uppercutted
reversed. So it's back on the original Xbox and PS2 days. It was Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Huh.
And
I remember that.
It was as fun as it sounds. It was an open world...
Vaguely, but...
Yeah. And it was vaguely open world. But yeah, I think the main area was a city. And I'm having like visions of like being in a desert too. I think there's different areas in that game, but it was just...
It was like an arcadey game where you just smash...
Throwing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can just roam around the city, smash cars. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I never beat that game, but yeah, that was a fun game from back in the day, and that was really enjoyable. I think one of the few enjoyable superhero games from that era. Then I wanted to mention Infamous Second Son. So I don't know if either of you guys ever played it.
I played the first one.
I never played either of them.
The first one was great.
Well, Second Son is the third one. This is Infamous, Infamous 2, and then Infamous Second Son.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, for some reason, the second one was Second Son.
No, that's the PS4 one. There were two of them on PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Infamous 1.
Just one on the PS4?
Yeah.
Second Son?
That was a launch title, I think.
For some reason, I thought that was the sequel, and that was on PS3 as well.
No.
In my mind, 2 and Second Son are the same game.
It would make sense, but no. I never played the first two.
Third tries the charm.
But Second Son was a lot of fun. It was a new protagonist, new story, and everything. And it was set in Seattle, which I think is why I enjoyed it so much, because I love Seattle. IRL, in real life.
Most people know what that means.
I know. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. They have... I forget who the developer is. Sucker Punch. Mm-hmm. They have such a handle on how to traverse the environment and stuff. That's another game where it's super fun just to roam around the city, because you have neon powers that you move really fast and you just zip up buildings and stuff like that.
That's the girl, isn't it?
Well, she had her own DLC, but
Yeah.
the main character, he has those powers.
Oh, he has
too.
those too.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's
Yeah.
smoke, the neon, and let's say like electricity or something like that.
Mm.
And the way they used, you had to use the different powers for different parts of like. It's been a while since I played it, so I don't remember exactly. And you, for like instance, when you had like the smoke powers, you had smokestacks coming out of the buildings. You suck the smoke out of it to recharge your powers. For like the neon powers, the neon signs and stuff, you'd suck the neon out of the sign and all that.
Gotcha. That's cool.
It was really cool, and it's a lot of fun to move around, a lot of fun to beat people up in it.
Nice.
Oh, you went
Yeah.
the dark way in that game? Because I think that had a moral system too, right?
Beat up bad guys.
Didn't that game have a moral good and bad path like the first two games did?
I don't remember, honestly.
Oh, because
Like
the
I said,
first
it was
Infamous
launched,
did.
so I haven't played it in, 4 or 5 years since PS4 came out, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, beating up bad guys, not beating up civilians.
I see.
Kyle.
Well, the first Infamous game, and I think the second one, you had a good and bad path that you can play the main story in.
Nice.
And I remember the first game, it was great playing as Cole because his electricity powers were really fun to use. Like, I always really enjoyed his hover glide thing
Mhm.
because he would just shoot electricity out of his hands while flying in the air.
Mhm.
And that was really awesome. And then, of course, the telephone wire surfing because he would just,
That grinding.
the grinding,
Yeah.
yeah. Basically, that was really a fun way of traversing the city.
Yeah.
One of my favorite superhero games isn't based on any specific superhero. It's actually an MMO, City of Heroes. I really enjoy. It's one of the few MMOs post Star Wars Galaxies that I really got into, and it wasn't for that long of a period of time. What drew me in though is that you create your hero from scratch, and obviously you level up and get more powers, but you could make him or her look however you wanted them to. And the powers that you got were just fun. It was a simply fun game, and I always loved electricity powers in video games. That's what made me think of that. I think my character's name, he was a mad scientist. I even created a backstory for him. I don't recall exactly what it was, but he was, of course, damaged or something by one of his own experiments, and he got the powers of electricity. I think I called him the electrologist. Because I'm awesome like that. And he just had all sorts of like teleporting, anything fast. It was all about moving fast and zapping people with lightning. But you could do anything superhero wise in that game. And then City of Villains, the expansion for it came out, and it introduced PvP, and you could create a villain and have a hero, and it was great. It was a lot of fun until NCSoft. I forgot what game they did after that, but it essentially shut down City of Heroes. And then NCSoft shut down as well, I believe.
Sounds like the DC Universe Online, whatever, a lot.
Yeah, that was more based on superpowers of existing superheroes in the DCU, but EU, my bad. But yeah, it was. I love City of Heroes, and they were. I think NCSoft started working on Star Trek Online. They ended up not releasing it themselves, but that's what they were working on at the time. That's right, Star Trek Online.
Nice.
Then they sold that to someone else, and they released it. But anyway, yeah.
As one does. Well, we already talked about Spider-Man 2 earlier, but I wanted to mention another Spider-Man game. Okay. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. I think it was the first game that Beanox did on 360 and PS3. Shattered Dimensions, and then the second one was Edge of Time or something like that.
Were those on the Xbox Live Arcade?
No.
Or were they full titles?
They're full titles.
Okay.
And if you noticed in Spider-Man PS4, they have the Noir Spider-Man suit. He came from that game, Shattered Dimensions.
Oh, okay.
It was a game where there was 4 different Spider-Men.
Spider-Man. My name is Peter Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. And so there's Noir Spider-Man, regular. I can't remember. I think Spider-Man 2099 was one of them, and then there was one more. It was a really fun game. You played through like each dimension, and then eventually they had to like team up at the end, I think.
Gotcha.
But it was in the interim from Spider-Man 2 to this game. I think that was the best Spider-Man game that's been out.
I really enjoyed Lego Marvel Superheroes, and I had Spider-Man in it.
Yes, that's true. I got that when I first got my PS4 too.
I played that on Steam.
Nice.
I got in a Lego video game kick, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make them like they used to, though.
They really don't.
I miss the way that the original Lego games were, with no talking, no dialogue.
Yeah.
It was all done with just grunts and the cutscenes were all just visual and very minimal audio.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfect, and then they started getting more and more licensing.
Yeah.
But I was hoping. So I played Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and I was hoping that it would take more of the path of the original Lego Star Wars games, because those were the first Lego games that were of this style.
Yeah.
Of the new, Lego games, and I was hoping that, but no, it was just like all the other new ones, fully voiced and everything.
Never did play that one. I wanted to. I heard it got good reviews, but I think most of them do.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you would expect it to be for a modern Lego game.
Figured.
Yeah.
Jedis are kind of like superheroes. Yeah.
Or supervillains, from a certain point of view.
That's true.
The last one that I wanted to talk about, also not strictly a superhero game.
I'm sure I'll want to talk about it too.
Oh, no, I wasn't even going to bring that one up.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Totally different one.
Ooh.
It's called Chroma Squad. It's a little indie game about people making a TV show about 5 different colored superheroes that have like strength and abilities, and they have a different monster that they have to defeat every week. I don't know if this sounds like any existing television series or now movie franchise to you, but they all have different colors, and they transform, for lack of a better term, into their colored superpower alter egos. And it actually got to the point during development of the game, Saban actually they sent them a cease and desist while they were making the game because of its likeness to Power Rangers.
That makes sense.
So now the game actually says it's Chroma Squad inspired by Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or something like that. But it's essentially it's an not an RTS. There's a management sim mixed with an RTS in there. Like there's the management sim of you running the television series that you're filming, but each episode is a level and it's an RTS, and it's like kind of like Banner Saga style combat, but with Power Rangers-esque characters and monsters. And it's based on the money that you get from the show, you can upgrade I forget what they call the Zords, like the mech or whatever it is, and the armor and all that, and the weapons and all that stuff. It's a fun little indie game that I want to get back into, honestly.
It sounds like a really unique concept.
It really was. Yeah. How each mission was an episode. It was great. It was perfect for what it was. Yeah. And after the cease and desist, really wore its inspiration on its sleeve.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we all love superhero games. Good ones, at least.
Yeah, there have been some bad ones. It takes a lot for a superhero game to grab me. And I think, honestly, with Spider-Man, it was the web slinging. And then playing it, Ashley was watching me play it. I was like, I just love doing this like every 5 minutes. I can't believe how fun this feels to just traverse through the city. And then every time that I was chasing one of those pigeons, when I finally get it, it was like I needed to smoke a cigarette after. I was just like, I set the controller down on my lap and just went, ah! I did it. It's just that satisfying feeling of being able to master the movement mechanics and oh man.
Oh, that reminds me of the Batman challenges where you have to fly through the rings. The gliding portion where you have to do challenges.
Inspired by Superman 64.
That was rough in Arkham City. Yeah.
I'm glad there's not really much of that in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There's a couple of like the research missions you have to fly through like clouds of gas or whatever, but there hasn't been anything like make it through the rings in this amount of time.
Right.
I'm glad that that's not in there.
There was one mission that was like a real test of the skill of like the traversal skills. And that was the one where you couldn't go below or above a certain point.
Yeah,
from
I just
rooftop
did that
to
one
rooftop.
yesterday.
Yeah, I almost messed it up completely. I actually fell. I tried to zip line to one of the helicopters and I missed, and I fell down, but I caught myself before I died. But yeah. Superhero games are fun. They bring out the superhero in all of us. And you guys could be superheroes too by following us on Twitter and subscribing, liking, commenting, doing whatever you want. Just spread the word. Let people know that we are here and we want to talk to them. We want to talk to you. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Leave us a comment, and thank you very much for listening. However you're listening, we will see you next week.
Adios.
Good night.
Love you.